Hello everyone, welcome to the DraftCast, the place to get all your news about the draft events of the week. This week we have James Oram back on the DraftCast, the manager of Emile, Pesky. How are you doing, James?
Good, thank you, Luke. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Did you enjoy the feature-length episode that we had with Adam?
Yeah, that was a mammoth. I think it came through while I was playing on the Xbox with Tolly, and we just both stopped and we just started listening to it then. So yeah, it was a monster.
Yeah.
But I did like the fact that he got an opportunity to start asking you some questions. That was good. Got some thoughts back from the podcast host. So yeah, that's a good idea. That. Have you worked out who asked what questions yet?
No, I haven't. I didn't want to give it too much thought, to be honest. But I hope someone was thoroughly embarrassed.
Yeah, I know who that was. I think. Yeah, I do know who that was. I won't tell you what I know who that was.
It doesn't matter.
Me.
Yeah.
It isn't bad.
Never mind. Anyway, so we'll do our league table review for game week 21. We'll do a review of James's teams from game week 21 and for game week 22 coming up. We'll try and do some predictions for the next game week, and we'll go through Jim's segment, your first segment, because we hadn't thought of that last time, so we'll do that this time. So let's get started and have a look at the league table. A little bit of movement. It's funny.
There's quite a bit. There's 6 people that have moved places, either up or down. I mean, it's all a bit. Everyone's very bunched together, aren't they? So it's going to happen quite a lot at the moment. But you've got quite a few. 3 of us on the move, and then 2 of us going. Oh, that's only 5 then. But yeah, three of them going up and 2 of them going down slightly. But like you can see how close it is between Adam and George is a point. Between me and Tom is 9. Between Will and Richard's 5 points, and even Tolly's only 4 points from ads. So it's very close, and we've gained on the leaders a little bit as well. Lawrence and yourself haven't had the best.
Yeah, it's all bunching up now. Yeah, definitely. Tom's got the highest score this week, with Tolly in the lowest.
Yeah,
I feel like Tolly last week he was the highest. He just can't make his mind up where to sit. So
no, I think he got a bit unlucky this week because looking at his team, I think there was a few players got. Castagna went off injured. Rodrigo either came on or went off injured. Martial got a point. Mina only got a point, but I think that's because he conceded goals rather than conceded 2, didn't he? And then obviously that 1-0 Brighton was really shafted in with Lloris and Davies in goal. It was George was the prediction, wasn't it, to do well this week? He's done 47, so it's joint second highest score. So that's between 3 of us as well. So he has had a good week there.
Yeah, Tom's done well. He's sort of cleared the bottom field now, and he's sort of making a bit of a gap between 5th and 6th. So yeah, he's catching the top of the table up. So it'll be interesting to see if his predictions do come or relatively true.
Didn't he? On Zinchenko, which was a pretty good gamble, and Rudiger, because that's always Zinchenko's a weird one because he's likely to be more often out than in, but. Gambling on Rudiger as well after the one game that Tuchel's had. He's just sort of gone for it and hope for the best. It's paid off. Played 4 games in a row now, Rudiger, which is weird because Zuma was doing very well. And it's odd that he's just been dropped. Yeah,
that is frustrating for me because I have Zuma.
Goal scoring defender. He's just disappeared.
Yeah. Again, I think I've put him on my bench for this week, but I don't really know what to do with him. I've had a couple of private messages asking if I want to trade him, and I don't know whether I should or not.
It's difficult when there's a new manager come in. You just don't know who they're going to play.
I
expected them to fully rotate a lot of the players for the games this weekend, and he did change quite a lot of the players, and there's a lot of changes.
Yeah, I think I'll see what happens this week, and then make a decision.
I'll give it at least another week. Especially he's been so good. Year to date, it's not as if he's been a bit ropey. He's been probably one of the best defenders in terms of scoring goals. You had the pair of them, but no, Tom's been. I think Tom has struck lucky with Stones and Edison. They've conceded 4 goals in 19 games now. I think it is clean sheet galore at the moment. So
it's good.
Both of them in every week, and Stones seems to be scoring more goals than Jesus.
Yeah, he didn't play this week though, did he? Stones.
He's unlucky that Stones was dropped, isn't he? But it's Pep. I mean, Jesus has scored and got a couple of bonus points. So there's probably a guaranteed dropping now for Jesus for, I guess, Sterling, because Sterling missed the last game. But Bamford did well as well. He got 2 assists and a goal. He could have been selfish and took the second goal, but Tom's helping me out. He's passed it across to Harrison, who's then slotted. So I do appreciate the cooperation from Team Row for us both to try and hunt you guys down at the top.
Yeah,
but he was just a bit lucky with his midfield, I guess. They've all played this week, which is, you know, with Bergwijn and Mount. I mean, Bergwijn has started the last couple of games, but with Kane being out, you're just not really sure who they're going to start. So he's unlucky that none of them have done anything except Mount keeping a clean sheet. But yeah, he's not had a bad week.
No, and I think with that we'll move on, considering that you've not had a bad week either. Second highest score.
Yeah, joint 3 of us on 47, me, Jack, and George. But yeah, I mean, I'm a bit gutted that Chilwell didn't start, because I would have had. He'd like to think at least another 6 points there instead of Pereira.
Yeah,
but I was a bit worried. I did text Ads wondering why he was dropped, and Ads did have a response for me. He sent me an interview comment saying that he'd been dropped for Alonso for Alonso's stature because of playing Burnley and the sort of football they play, so sticking it in the box and corners and things. So hopefully Chilwell will start again, because he is a very attacking fullback. But then so is Alonso, so I'm a little bit worried now. And I've seen people have drafted in Dave and Marcus Alonso this week, hoping that they're going to carry on. So it'd be interesting to see who's disappointed come, I think it's Thursday, Spurs-Chelsea. But no, Pereira and Harrison did well as well. Maddison with more points again. Last week he didn't hit anything, but he got another assist. And Pereira, I brought him in for 2 weeks, this week and just been and next week essentially. So he's done the business on one of those weeks for me. So hopefully he can do the same next week against. Well, I say next game week against Sheffield. So it's tomorrow.
Definitely a good signing. He does well again in the next game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm intending to keep him too long, just because I can't see West Brom. But then they've got Spurs United, then a pretty tasty run. If they're going to stay up, they're going to have to do something against Burnley, Brighton, Newcastle, Palace, and possibly Everton. So I might keep him. He's their best player. So yeah, nice little venture into the market. And Harrison back-to-back goals.
Yeah,
has helped out. Just need Vardy to come back, and I need Aguero to start playing. I don't know what's happened to him.
I was going to ask you, you're still holding on to Aguero?
Yeah, it's not as if I haven't got a playing striker at the moment. I've got Mopé, and Vardy is due back in not this game week, but at the weekend. So hopefully, can't see him starting, but at least he should start getting some minutes again. So
yeah,
I can probably hold out another couple of weeks on Aguero. But Pep keeps picking him up, saying they need him coming into the end of the season. They're going to need a goal scorer, and they've been doing all right, but they've been winning a couple 1-0, relying on a mixture of players. So I think they do need their goal scorer back, because Jesus just doesn't. For me, it just isn't good enough for what they need. So I think they'll be definitely buying a striker in the summer to replace both of them. So yeah, but I'm going to hold out.
Okay. I didn't have much else to ask you about the game week 21 team, but looking to game week 22, I see you've brought ASM back. Yeah,
he's come off the bench in the last, is it 2 or 3? I think it's the last 3 he's come off the bench in now. Is it 2? Yeah, 3, sorry. So he's done sort of 25 minutes each game week. But he looks good. He does look good. I think Jack was after him at one point, but I think Jack was cautious about having 3 Newcastle players in the team, which is very understandable.
Yeah.
But he looks like he's back to a degree. So they've got a couple of tasty games coming up as well. They've got Palace at home, and I can't remember who the other ones are. Palace, Southampton, I think. Yeah, Palace, Southampton, then Chelsea and United. But the next 2 games, Palace, one of those teams, because could win a stinky 1-0 or get battered, and then Southampton seem to have dropped off, considering where they were a couple of weeks, a month ago, I guess. They've dropped off heavily and just can't seem to be.
Vestergaard will be back for that game week, so maybe he was the link.
maybe. One of us is going to be upset then. Either ASM's going to run riot or Vestergaard's going to stop him. But yeah, so I brought him in because Walcott was injured. Given I've got 2 other injuries, I can't really carry a third just because of the potential rotations of Chilwell, Havertz. The rest seem to be certain starters to a degree. But I couldn't risk having potentially a couple of weeks. I've only got 10 playing, so I had to drop Walcott.
That's fair enough.
And he hasn't done much for a while, so I'm quite happy dropping him.
Yeah. Who are you looking to score big for you this week then?
Well, Pereira, unfortunately. Pereira and Maddison, probably. So Maddison at Fulham. I think they'll be smarting after that 3-1 loss to Leeds, and they tend to be a team that plays better away from home. Just it's a bit different at the moment because of no one in the ground, but they're a more counter-attacking team because of with Vardy anyway, because of the pace they got up top. But hopefully Maddison can carry on his form. Walker away at Burnley, just because if he plays, I think City just are impregnable at the moment. And he's a good player. He can get forward, so you never know, might chip in with an assist. Pereira, again, a midfielder playing up top. West Brom need to win games, need to score goals, and Sheffield have been poor this year. So you've got to hope if he's going to do anything against any team, it might be against Sheffield. And then I think that's Harrison against Everton. You just don't know, do you? If Leeds turn up again, they could bang in 4, or they could lose 3-0. You just don't know. But that midfield probably is where I'm hoping to get the points. And then if ASM starts, you never know what can happen against Palace. But I'm not defenders other than Walker. I'm a bit hesitant about this week. Chilwell, if he plays against Spurs, could be a dull 0-0. Pereira, I think he'll probably play because Castagna looks like he's injured. I'm not sure how long for, so he'll come in hopefully. And they might run riot at Fulham. And he's a very attacking wing back as well. So you just don't know. All over the place in answer to that question, Luke. I think I've got points all over the pitch. But they're not favourable matchups in all cases, if that makes sense. Spurs Chelsea is a bit of a weird one. Newcastle Palace, because again, I don't know. That could be a boring 0-0, or it could be 4 or 5 goals. Probably not to Palace, but yeah, you just don't know. I'd go with Maddison probably if I had to choose one more players.
Okay. That's it from me for questions for your team. Let's try and make some predictions, shall we? I've gone for Jack this week. I think I had to look over teams. I thought it was quite hard looking at the fixtures to kind of single out anyone that's going to do well. But yeah, I'm going to give Jack the benefit of the doubt this week. He's done well this week, same as you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well,
I've given up trying to analyse the teams too much now with these prediction of teams because it's so difficult.
So I have delegated that responsibility this week. I have not chosen a team or a player. But I don't know whether you've heard of Paul the Octopus or Coy Hodgson, but they're both animals that predict things. So Paul the Octopus, I think it was the 2010 World Cup, he predicted the outcome of different matches. He had a pretty good success rate, to be fair. I think he predicted, out of 14 predictions, he got 12 right. It's 85.7%. And I don't know how well Coy Hodgson did, but he was a goldfish, so I have no idea how well he did. But he did the 2012, I think it was, the Euros.
All right.
He was a goldfish borrowed from a dustbin man, who was a Palace fan, and he was called Coy Hodgson. So I have delegated that responsibility to Luna this week. So Luna has chosen both the team that they think is going to do best, or she thinks is going to do best, and also the player. So I gave her a choice of players, obviously, because I was never going to write all the players down on a piece of paper and let her choose. So I gave her a choice of 2. But team-wise, I was surprised at her choice. You'll see in the video, she took quite a long time to deliberate who she was going to go for the team. And she's gone a bit rogue for this week. No offence to Ajax Treesdown, but that's who she's gone for.
Okay, should we have a look at this video then, shall we?
Yeah.
Right then. Here she comes. She's very confused as to what's going on.
She is, yeah. She's very confused. And then she just goes for the end one.
And
then she just hoovers away along the rest. But I took the first one as the one that she's chosen.
Yeah.
And that was George's team. So I've now got to defend that choice. So
yeah, I mean he did well.
He did
last game week as well. So you never know.
He's just got some unfavourable matchups. I think he's got Orba. God knows what's going on there. Really, no one knows. I don't think. Lacazette's also got an injury flag. Fabianski away at Villa. Kufal. So if you assume that Lacazette and Orba don't play, he's probably got Kufal and Fornals coming in away at Villa. I mean, and Villa have been on form recently, so I just can't see them keeping a clean sheet. But you never know. Maybe Luna's looked at the team and gone, yeah, Firmino is going to destroy Brighton, and Luke Shaw she's going to do well at home against Southampton. I think that's what she's probably looked at.
Sounds like
again,
a good,
maybe Eze and Mitrovic. So Mitrovic is a bit of an enigma, but I guess if they do well against Leeds and he's on the pitch, he might get some points. And Eze scored a good goal in the week or the weekend. He seems like a good player, and if anyone's going to be challenging that Newcastle defence, it could well be Eze. So yeah, I mean, I'll back her. If that's what she's chosen, that's what she's chosen.
Nice. I like the idea of using Luna to make choices for you.
Let's see if Luna is lucky for George, or whether Paul should remain the predicting animal rather than Luna.
You never know. If she gets it right, we might be using her every week.
Well, this is true. I did, because Adam chose. Who did he choose? Cancelo as his player for this week, and he didn't get any points. So I mean, I think that's probably the worst performance so far on predicting a scoring player. I think to get 0. So he's unfortunate there. Another savage pep rotations done both him and Tolly for that. Especially as he played so well in the last game. Highest point scorer in the game week and then just dropped. Classic Pep.
Yeah.
But no, I gave her the choice. I gave her the choice of Raheem and Raul. And even she's not stupid enough to go for Raul Jimenez. So she chose Raheem. So
that seems a bit one-sided.
You've got
choice.
the video? You got the video she chose? And you can't see because obviously I didn't want to read the answers. But yeah, the second video, she chooses Raheem over Raul. She refused to get off the sofa though, so we had to change the location for that.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, but you could have picked 2 players that. Why did you pick Raul Jimenez? Because you know he's not playing.
What Luna thinks. Well, I just wanted to see how clever my dog was. Turns out she knows Raul is not on the pitch and not getting points. So she's gone for Raheem, and that's who I'd have gone for as well, actually, out of those 2.
Okay.
But I probably would have gone for Raheem. The other one I was looking at was a bit of a rogue one, but Digne, away at Leeds. And it's one of those where defenders occasionally can pick up a good game week. And he's a good player playing in midfield now on the left. And against Leeds, who will just attack and attack and attack, he's got a good chance of whipping in some crosses from that left-hand side. And I think Everton are due a couple of goals. They've not scored that many in the league recently, and DCL's not scored in a while. So I think they're due a good performance, and that could well come against Leeds. So that was my outside option, but I just can't look past Raheem probably this week. I know Salah's done well this week in the last game week, but yeah, Sterling rested. You've got to assume he's coming in probably for Jesus this week, potentially just playing through the middle up top.
Yeah, I was going to go for Salah.
You're going for Salah again?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Liverpool game and his current form looks like he should score well. So yeah, again, I always struggle picking a player.
It's difficult, isn't it? So many. All it takes is someone rogue like Bamford or Pereira just to pull out a big week. But yeah, I think City just look so good at the moment. And given Raheem was rested, you'd assume he's going to be starting the next game, and you could just see them blowing Burnley away. So yeah, that'd be my bet. Different conversation if you'd gone for Raul. Don't know what I'd be saying, but I'll back
yeah, that would have been interesting. Yeah, I was like to have seen you defend that one.
Oh, well, I couldn't have. That would have been a disaster. So I'm glad she chose the right option. But yeah, I'm going to go with that. Well, George. I'm going with George. I'm backing Looney, and I'll back her on the Sterling choice as well.
2 sound choices, I think, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, good luck to them both.
Yeah. So now we'll move on to your segment, shall we?
Yeah, so I haven't really done any stats because I think there's been a lot of stats the last couple of weeks. Now, the one I was debating doing was how much more valuable fullbacks are over centre-backs. But I'm not going to lie, I was hungover yesterday and I didn't have time to do it today. So I've gone for a different approach, and I've got 2 little things. So one, just out of interest, really, I've got a first drafted 11 and then the best scoring 11. I want to see how many you can remember or who you think would have been drafted first and how many of those are in the current best scoring 11. And then I've got Jim's ones to watch. So I've chosen 5 players that I think are over the next couple of game weeks aren't in teams at the moment, or some of them now are after the waivers went through, that could do well, and the teams I think they could slot into out of the league.
All right, okay.
So what I've done is, obviously, the first 11 that were drafted weren't going to make up a formation because most of them were midfielders and strikers, except for Tolly's choice. So what I've done is the first goalkeeper is the goalkeeper, and then the first selections that made a formation are the ones that have gone in. So the formation that it came out with was 3-5-2. So obviously the keeper, 3 defenders, 5 midfielders, and 2 strikers. So I'm just interested to know who. So what will happen is, if don't press next yet, but if you press next, it'll bring up the keeper first, then the 3 defenders, then the 5. Yeah. But interested to know who you think would have been the first drafted keeper.
First drafted keeper. I'm gonna guess it was probably me with Schmeichel.
No, it wasn't.
Wasn't it?
It was Edison. No, Tom went quite early. I think it was his 4th pick.
Oh, right, okay.
But picked up Edison, who's actually been doing pretty well recently, given the fact that they've only conceded 4 in 19. So
yeah.
So I mean, Will did this whole segment on the keepers. We'll see who's top of the keeper list in a minute, but Edison's making his way up there very, very quickly at the moment. So yeah. Tom's got a good pick.
Defenders.
There's 3. Yeah, I think they're quite obvious ones.
I'm guessing Van Dijk was one.
Yep.
Then Laporte.
No, Will did go quite early for him, but it's two wing backs that have gone.
Oh, so it'd be Trent Alexander then.
Yep.
And who would the other one be? Is it
Still
Chilwell?
playing the same team. No, he was actually really late. I think he was the 10th round he went, because he was injured at the start of the season. So
what, another Liverpool player?
Yeah. In Jack's team.
Oh, Robertson.
Yeah. So you've got back 3 of the 3 Liverpool defenders.
Yeah.
And then you've got 5 across the middle. These ones are probably quite obvious. They're the big 5.
Yeah, so it's De Bruyne, Mane, Salah, Sterling.
No, Sterling is not one.
Really?
No, he was the one after. He was the 6th midfielder to go. There's a lot of controversy about one of them in the trade, poaching him off Rich early on.
Oh, Fernandes.
Yeah. And the other one, George has got, who last season was amazing as a striker, and the fact he dropped back into midfield. Yeah. And then top 2 up top.
Well, it's got to be Kane, surely. He's one of them. And
Kane was one of them. Ads picked him.
And Aguero then?
No. There was one that went before Aguero. So Kane was the very first striker that was picked.
It must be Vardy then, surely.
No, it wasn't.
No? Oh my God.
Timo. It was Turbo Werner.
Wow.
So that was, as a 10 of us, that's what we thought would be the best scoring 11, on the basis they were the ones in those positions that were picked first. So that's how many points they've got at this stage of the season. So, to be fair, more than any of us between the 11 of them. So it's a very solid squad, but not the best scoring squad by some distance, actually. So,
interesting.
Yeah, but the actual top 11, I mean, one of them is a bit difficult with Van Dijk, obviously going out injured so early in the season. But there's a couple of interesting players that make up the 11. So I don't know if you can guess who the current top goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper? I don't know who the top keeper is. No, I haven't had a look.
Martinez is over 100 points so far, so he is...
That's decent for a keeper.
Yeah, very, very decent. The second is Pope with 93 or 95, so Pope's doing very well. And then the next one down is Edison, so he's not far. I think Edison's in the 80s now, so he's not far behind. But yeah, Martinez...
There's a few in the 80s now, I think, isn't there?
Yeah. And Martinez actually, as you'd expect, because he was a backup keeper at Arsenal, but went undrafted. So, yeah, Will's done very well picking him up. Defenders, I'll give you a clue. Only one of them of the previous 3 is in the top 3. So the formation in the best scoring 11 at the moment is 3-4-3.
Right, so
there's 3 defenders.
There's a toss up between Robertson and Alexander-Arnold then, as who's done better so far.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hedge. I'm gonna go on a whim and say it was Robertson.
It is Robertson.
Yeah.
And the other 2, I'm interested to know. So the highest scoring defender currently is not Robertson, and it's not someone who I would ever have gone for in a draft. And I think he was undrafted.
Oh no! There's going to be someone I probably don't even know then, isn't it?
It's in Lawrence's team. Aaron Cresswell, currently the highest scoring defender. No, I'm pretty sure he went undrafted. I haven't checked everything, but I'm pretty sure he went undrafted.
Yeah.
But you see, Lawrence is doing well because Cresswell's I think on free kicks and corners at the moment, which was I'm a bit surprised by that. But he's getting assist after assist at the moment, so he's doing well, And the third plays for City, not Laporte, the other one.
That doesn't really narrow it down for me.
Ruben Diaz.
That's it. Okay.
Doing very well. Seems to have secured his slot in the team and is scoring points for fun. So, yeah, an interesting back three. Obviously, Robertson in Trent, you'd sort of expect to be in there just because of how well Liverpool play, but Trent has not had a good season so far, which is part of the reason why Tolly's probably struggling because that was his very first pick. So, yeah, he didn't go for one of the big boys in midfield or up front. He went for Trent. So I think that could be where he's falling down a bit because I think he could have had one of those middle five. I think he picked potentially for Mane. But anyway, yeah, he picked early. So midfield, you got 4. 2 of them are the same.
I'm trying to remember the first drafted. De Bruyne can't be one, surely.
De Bruyne is not.
No.
Tom,
I don't think Mane is either. I don't want to say Mane.
No, Mane is not. And it's definitely not Auba, so it's the other two.
Oh, my short-term memory is so bad.
Salah and Fernandes.
That's it.
Both up there.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 more.
2 more.
One of them went in the 4th round, which is quite late given how well they've done. But they've not scored as much recently, which is why Bear might be struggling a little bit or not scoring quite as highly this week.
Oh, Rashford, maybe then.
Son,
that's it. Sorry, yeah.
Son. And then there was an article on Fantasy Premier League about this last one, about whether he is the best midfielder in the league at the moment. And I'd be tempted to say he's probably the second. When you factor in the team, etc., who the others play for, I'd say he is probably the second best player in the league at the moment behind Fernandes.
Grealish then, isn't it? I'm guessing.
Yeah. So Grealish makes up the 4th spot. And I say that because Fernandes is single-handedly pulling that United team together. But yeah, so I think when you factor in the players he's with compared to the others, I think I'd argue he's probably second best player in the league at the moment.
Yeah.
For that reason, consistently getting points, scoring goals, assisting. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see him up there. But again, he was quite a late pick, and Ad's spent a lot of his players getting him off Will, which would seem to be a good choice. Albeit he's now lost Kane to Will, which is questionable. But yeah, and then you've got 3 up top.
3 up top.
And I can tell you now, Timo Werner is not one of them.
Yeah, I think Vardy will be one still, won't he? He's actually done all right, hasn't he?
Yeah, and he's missed I think 6 games this season. He's doing very well. So yeah, Vardy's one of them. Kane's one of them, and then the other one. Interesting you go for. It's close actually. There's I think 3 or 4 points in it between 3rd and 4th striker, and they don't play for big clubs.
Is Bamford it? Is it Bamford?
Yeah, it's Bamford. Yeah. It's very close between him and Wilson, but yeah, it's Bamford. And that team has scored. If someone had drafted those, they would have won the league already.
Yeah.
30% more than our first drafted 11.
If someone managed to draft that, I'd be impressed or put that together.
Yeah, I mean, they would never get that selection, would they? But I mean, Cresswell's been a big pickup for Lawrence. I think Martinez as well for Will is huge. Grealish consistently getting points, but Bamford. So out of those 4, Bamford's got the most points, he was a round 15 pick as well. Literally one of the last players to go. Tom's
done well there, hasn't he? Really?
He has done very well. Especially when they signed Rodrigo. And you thought, is that it then? It's like they signed the striker and you're Bamford. You must be thinking, well, that's that then. I'm probably not going to play much. And he's been in the Prem before and not performed particularly well, but this year he's been exceptional for them. So
interesting.
Yeah, So only I think it's 4. Got 4 of our first drafted players are currently at this stage in the season in the top 11, which is interesting. But Van Dijk's obviously not going to be in there. He's only got 15 points, but
well, he's injured, isn't he?
Yeah. So not really sure what that adds, but just thought I haven't got the stats, so I'm just going to do that. So there we go.
Yeah.
But the next ones I've got, these are ones that I've looked at that are in the free agency list, and these are the ones that I've got down over the next couple of game weeks as ones to watch. So Cho, Calvert-Lewin, I think he's played the last 2 games, so as Tolly's picked him up, he's undoubtedly going to be dropped now against Spurs. But he looks very good in terms of the positioning. So Tuchel, as Adam said before, loves his wing backs, and Cho was the furthest player forward in their game against Wolves, given he was playing as a right wing back. But the furthest player forward suggests he's going to be very, very attacking. So that seems like a good pickup. And someone has picked him up, and it was indeed the shitty shit nuts, another rebranding from Tolly. But I think he could have slotted in into any of those. I've put 3 teams against him that I think could have picked him up quite comfortably and slotted him for a replacement. So I had yours down as Højbjerg, who I thought he could have replaced.
Yeah, he's gone now anyway.
So they got a couple. Spurs win, interesting game, but you never know what could happen there. But then Sheffield and Newcastle look like favourable matchups. So I think I would expect him to do all right over the next couple of game weeks, providing he stays in the team.
Yeah. So is are the Draft Council going to have a word with Tolly about his rebranding?
I mean, he had a shit performance, hadn't he? There's no question about it. It was a shitty week from the shit nuts.
The constant rebranding. You going to make him pick a name, or you just going to let him keep changing it?
The problem is he's a law unto himself, isn't he? Jack's the enforcer. You need to have a word with Jack. Jack's supposed to be the one.
He's your enforcer. You've got to make him enforce stuff, haven't you?
We can try. Has he actually put a capital? Has he capitalised his S's? That's the big question. He has. So I mean, that's the main thing that really irks me and Adam, the punctuation. So at least he's got a capital S for shitty and shit nuts.
Fair enough.
But yeah, and I think he could have fit into Adam's team. I can't remember who it was for now, top of my head, but I think he could have slotted him in. Next one, still undrafted, Chris Wood. Yes, they got City next, but then Brighton, Palace. I know he's injured as well, but it doesn't look, from what Dyche said, doesn't seem to be too serious. So I'm surprised he's not been picked up by anyone, especially Chicken Tikka, who is carrying a dead striker. Just not to pick up a player, even if he sits on the bench, just in case you don't have players play. I think it just seems an odd choice, but each manager's their own. I think Jack could have picked him up for Silva. I think Silva's now going to be dropped probably for William Jose, who answers Scott, and then shitty shit nuts. I think you'll see a running theme here for all of these, but I think the shitty shit nuts could have taken all of these players. With Rodrigo being injured, Martial not particularly performed very well. I would never have dropped him for DCL, or probably not Martial, but I'd have been tempted for Rodrigo. It would also diversify his team a bit. So, yeah. Don't think they'll do well against City, but Brighton and Palace, you never know.
Okay, who's next?
I got this one. So ASM, I had him down on my ones to watch. So Palace, Southampton, which I think if Newcastle are going to carry on this bit of form, you'd expect them to get something out of those 2 games. Chelsea is a bit of a difficult one, but again, you never know. But the next 2 games, I think you'd expect if if Newcastle are going to carry on, they're going to need to against both of those. I've picked him up actually, and I had him down on where could he play. I had him in Pesky. I think Rich could have picked him up as well potentially. Rich has doubled up on Arsenal midfielders and Saka and Odin's Beard, so I don't know whether he wants 2 from the same team. And he's also picked up Diallo, who is playing for the under-23s at the moment. So he's got a couple of there or 3 there that may or may not play. And ASM, I think, would be a more consistent starter. I could have had him, which I've now got him for Walcott. And the shitty shit that's could have had him for any one of his midfielders, really. Yeah. So Mahrez is one of those that you'll drop him, he'll then play the next week and score 18 points, and then they won't play again.
Yeah, you don't need to tell me that.
Well, yeah, you've experienced it.
That's exactly what happened to me last season.
Well, yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? But yeah, Greenwood, who he has actually dropped now, could have come in for Greenwood. Who did he go for? It wasn't Click, was it? No, it was Cho. So yeah, he's picked up one of the ones I was expecting to. But he's probably got others in his midfield he could have dropped as well. And then the next one's interesting.
Ooh.
Trossard. And I had you down for picking up Trossard, or one of the 3 that might have done or could have done. So yeah, Liverpool away is probably a minging next game. But with Liverpool's defence, you've got they're missing most of it.
Yeah.
You've got a midfielder that's playing as a striker. And I think Brighton are better than their position in the table, and they play better away from home. They haven't won I think that's the first time they've won at home yesterday in 225 days. So they are much better away from home. They do play better football than it might indicate on paper. So I think that's not a bad pickup. And Burnley as well. Villa, they are 3 possibly tough games, but as a free agent that's floating around out there, I thought he might do all right with the next couple of game weeks, especially if they've done that to Spurs yesterday. That might give them a bit of confidence to go and get some more results. So, in the next 2 games being away, Liverpool defence being a bit ropey, Burnley not being the best team, thought he might be an option for Northgate to lose all the shitty shit nuts. But you've picked him up.
I have, yeah. Well, hopefully he'll do well.
And then my final one, a bit rogue, given he hasn't played that much. But I think after losing 1-0 to Brighton, I think Jose's going to be furious. And I would be worried if I was any of that back line about being dropped. Aurier seems to be out of the picture now after he left the ground at half-time after being subbed. Just left. So whether Jose's going to put him back in the team after that, I don't know. But he was an absolute weapon last year. Assists, clean sheets and goals galore. Now, he's been playing in a bit of a different position, but if Tottenham are going to recover their season, they're going to have to do it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
2 tough games, Chelsea and Man City. But you could see that Chelsea one being a counter-attacking game, especially with how high the Tuchel team looks like they're going to press. You never know if he plays. And then West Brom, you'd expect them to beat West Brom. And then City's a difficult one. But yeah.
Did anyone pick him up then?
No, he's still floating around. But the shitty shit nuts could have picked him up for any one of their defenders again. Probably not Trent, but the others. Chicken Tikka Salah had down there, just because I think he's got a couple of centre backs. He's got Holgate, I think, that doesn't necessarily play. But I think he's dropped in for Dawson anyway. And then I had you down because I remember he had him in defence. But
I've already got Dyer who didn't play, so I imagine he's going to be in for the next game.
Yeah, you'd expect him to come back. But I think... Oh, Zuma. I had it down as potentially Zuma.
Yeah, it's a big gamble, I think.
It is. I'll probably give it a week or 2, but...
Yeah, and I don't really want to then put all my faith onto 2 Tottenham defenders after they've lost 1-0 to Brighton.
No, and they've got 2 tough fixtures, but I just thought if they're going to right the ship, it's going to have to be sometime soon.
But then again, Chelsea, I don't think have been the scoring force that you'd expect either. So.
No, I think it could be a couple of weeks before, or a couple of game weeks before this really get going and get used to what he wants. But yeah, he was my rogue one. Natali will mock me for that, but it says something when your team name appears in all the ones to watch lists
on every single player. Okay, is that the last one?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how those guys do over the next couple of game weeks. See how close I am to my predictions.
Yes, it's good, interesting little segment that is to little players to look out for.
Well, I didn't want to. The other guys have done a lot of good stat work, and I didn't want to mess it up because they're on a good run. But I wasn't just.
You didn't want to follow up.
Capacity yet. No, didn't have
pressure was too high
yesterday either. Yeah, exactly. So I've just gone with an easier segment for me today. But no,
fair enough.
Be interesting.
Oh, thanks for that.
I'll be interested to see how good Luna's predictions are. I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
very intrigued.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there. I did want to ask you that. How did you find your virtual stag at the weekend?
Oh, I thought Tolly did an excellent job, to be fair, of organising that.
Yeah.
He did it. Yeah, it was very good. It's difficult over Zoom, I think, because you've got to sort of, you can't descend into anarchy because otherwise you'll never get it back, and he did a good job. The fact he had Jake in between us as well was quality.
That was quality,
to be fair.
Good. Yeah.
And the games he did, I think, were quite good. The quizzes, I mean, I did very, very badly on how odd one I'm right half. But,
But I don't think Will did that much better,
no,
did he?
And he had multiple choice, that was the other thing.
Yeah.
But, I did very badly on that. I said to Charlotte after, I had mental blocks for like every single answer, and I knew the answer was wrong when I was saying it. I couldn't get the dog one. What was their dog called? I know it's Tia, and the other one's Holly, but I had Pumba in my head. And that was it. I think I had enough beers then that I couldn't get past Pumba. And I knew that was wrong. So,
no, it was a good lap, to be fair.
He did a good job. Hopefully we'll be able to do something in real life, in person.
Yeah.
Before the weddings, but it was good. He did a very good job. Very good job. The fancy dress was awesome. Tom, I have to say, everyone.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good ones, but Tom's was...
pulled it out of the bag.
Good job there. Yeah, that was exceptional. But no, it was good. Clicks to Tolly.
Clicks to Tolly, yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thanks for coming on, Jim.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Remember to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment if you've got any ideas for future episodes. And I think we'll leave it there. So this is the DraftCast, and remember, draft is life. See you next time.